Hello, my name is Katie St. Norris with St. Norris Wealth Management, and in this video I would like to talk about new Form W-4 for 2020. It's completely different from prior versions. That's why if you're thinking about updating your W-4 or you're just starting a new job, what's new? Let's get going. So, who should fill out that new Form W-4? First of all, if you're just starting a new job this year, or you have new circumstances in your life, like you got married and your spouse is working, or your spouse found a second job, or you found a second job. Also, if you got some new dependents, it could be you got a new child, or maybe you were taking care of your elderly parents or grandparents. And you have to ask yourself, is there any chance that you won't use the standard deduction? And you're gonna itemize, you're gonna decide on that. And in the prior tax year, whatever you got a large tax bill or large refund, you also have to think about filing new W-4. Where can you find a new W-4 form? You can follow this link, or maybe your employee will provide hard copies of W-4. Either way, to look at the form right now, if you click on this link, you can see the following 4 pages. It will be W-4 form itself, general instructions for the form, the worksheet for multiple jobs and deductions, and also a table that will help you determine what numbers go into your multiple jobs worksheet. Only steps 1 and 5 are actually required on the new Form W-4. What are steps 1 and 5? Step number 1 is your personal information section with your first name, middle name, initials, social security number, don't forget about that, your address, and your current tax filing status. Some changes in your filing status. Before, on the old W-4, we did not have head of household status. Now it's a new item on the form. So you have single or married filing separately, married filing jointly, or qualified widower, and head of household. Also, all these 3 statuses will be on these tables that you're going to use to determine your items for the multiple jobs worksheet. So if you're single with 1 job, or you are married, no dependents, and you have a spouse, but that spouse doesn't work, all you have to worry about is filling out step number 1, personal information, and step number 5, your signature and the date. You have to remember, if you do not sign on step 5, the form is not valid. So what happens if you have multiple jobs or your spouse works? So you have to complete steps 2 and 4. So what are those steps? So you have to just do one of the following things. You have to use either the Estimator on the IRS website. You can see the link actually in the form itself. That will be the most accurate withholding number for you. For example, for privacy standpoint, if you work multiple jobs And at job number 1, you don't want your current employer to see how much you're making at job number 2, then there will be the choice to go with, just to use the Estimator on IRS website. Next choice, you can use the worksheet that I was talking about earlier, or shortest version and easiest, if you have only 2 jobs total, just 2, and those jobs pay about similar amount of money, you can just check this box right here and you're done. Step number 3 has to do with your dependents, your children or any other dependents you're taking care of. So dependents that you're supplying more than 50% of their expenses, yearly expenses. This section is relatively simple to complete, and it shows you the limit of the income that you will be eligible for this credit. So if your income is $200,000 or less, or $400,000 or less, and you might married filing jointly, you're eligible. Anything above that, you just can scrap that section because it does not apply to you. So if you have 2 children under the age of 17, you multiply it by 2. So for 2 children, it's $4,000. And if you have 2 dependents, so say your grandparents, it will be additional $1,000. And you just put the total in the box 3, which is $5,000 in this situation. Step 4 is also optional for other adjustments. This section is for various things that you may want to account for. They include other income, and other income is not from jobs, but from interest, dividends, or any other retirement income. And it's important to know that if you want tax withheld, but currently you don't have any withholding, so you have to put the amount, actually dollar amount of income. Say you have additional $3,000 from interest from your bank account. Also, deductions that may reduce your withholding. For deductions, if you expect to claim deductions other than a standard deduction, which is probably, since it's been increased to $24,400 to married filing jointly, 12.2 for single filers, and head of household, it's $18,350. Say you own a home and you're paying interest on a home and you pay property taxes, plus you made some charitable donations, and you're single and your interest you're paying on your mortgage is $14,000. Of course, you're going to have to make adjustment for that section B and include additional items on 4B line. Section C in step 4, it's any additional extra amount withheld each year per period. For multiple jobs worksheet, say you don't have an access to the internet to use the Estimator on IRS website, and you just have hard copy and you're sitting at HR office and you need to do it. So the best way to do it, I'll just use the worksheet. How to use the worksheet? Fill out your personal information in step 1. You can sign it right away. And then go to step 2 for the worksheet. And that's what you're using here. This is what the worksheet looks like. And say you're working 2 jobs. So we'll take line 1. And one job, which is primary job, pays significant amount of money, whereas the second job is lower paying job. You go to your table over here, and depending on your tax filing status, say you're single, so you use the box number 2. In this column, you say you have the highest paying job. So say you're making $100,000. That's your highest paying job. And you're making 20 at your lower paying job. So what happens, you cross these 2 columns and you get to the number that you need for your worksheet, which in our situation is 5,110. Then you go to line number 3, and line number 3 asks you how often you've been paid, weekly, bi-weekly, or if it pays once a month. And say you're getting your paycheck once a month, you put 12 in here. Then you divide the annual amount of line number 1 by the amount in line number 3. Your amount goes in here. That's pretty much all for multiple jobs worksheet. Thank you for watching. I hope it was a helpful video for you, and bye.